Hello, Audrey and Shwetha. Thank you so much for joining me today and being prepared to be interviewed by me. I'm really excited.
We're excited to be here.
Thank you.
I can add some extra sound effects.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you. So, Audrey and Shwetha, I work with women or men who have experienced being manipulated by their partner. They were able to get out of one or maybe even more relationships, but they're scared now to attract that same kind of partner again. And I know that your story is about that as well. And that's why I thought I'm really curious about what it was that prompted you to not attract that kind of person anymore. Was there a thought that you had, a realization?
It's a great question, Andrea. And many times we see so many people getting trapped into that whole, the pattern of attracting the same kind of person. And for me, when I started my relationship initially, I had no awareness of personal development. I had no awareness of tribal influence. I had no awareness of, that there could be patterns. So, energetically, I can attract somebody and I could continue to do that. So, literally, when I got out of a relationship, it wasn't really enough to teach me any lessons. Got out of other relationship, it wasn't really enough to teach me lessons. But really, when I got into personal development space and tapped into understanding me, understanding what I stood for, and uncovering all those layers of limiting beliefs and all those chains of tribal bonds that was stopping me from doing things, is when I realized, maybe, and also the wise person sitting next to me made me realize that chances are you have patterns in the type of people you attract. And then I started thinking, I'm like, maybe I do. And then it was constantly like, doesn't he look like that? Doesn't that look like? I'm like, it's so subconscious driven, and it requires so much work. And obviously a mentor or a coach who will make you aware of it. And I had this little birdie sitting on my shoulder reminding me. So it was really amazing to at first I was in denial, and I'm like, no, defensive, like, no, it's not possible. But through the journey, I realized, it is true. Like, you go for it. And it's so important to do this work.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing, Audrey. And what I'm really curious about is, you said you then went on a self-development journey yourself. Was there something that you heard from a friend, or was it something that you came up with yourself? Because I know for myself, for a very long time, I didn't even realize that I was being manipulated until a girlfriend told me. And I thought with me leaving the relationship, I actually had done my work. I had mastered my challenge. Yeah. And I didn't realize that for many years, only until me too, I started the self-development journey. But I didn't go on this journey really to master that problem. I did it because I wanted to get out of my job to build another leg of income, basically. And only then I realized, oh my God. And then, like you say, the layers started peeling. So I'm curious how it was for you.
It was very, very similar to that, Andrea, because when I started my personal development journey, it wasn't me to understand the patterns in the relationship. It was more because I had literally experienced adversity in all different areas of life. Like, I had experienced my relationship breakdown, my mom just had passed away, as well as I had experienced bullying at work. So I literally had all these closed doors. And I'm like, what the fuck? What do I do? Sorry.
Oh,
And
good. It was a really tough time in your life.
yeah, it was very, it was the rock bottom I had hit, and I was single. So it wasn't like I was keen on working on a relationship side. I was just lost. And that's when I met Shwetha on the challenge that I did. And I joined the personal development journey from there. And that's where she was the one who made me aware there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to it. There is like, this is just the start. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? Like, she would look at, notice things, and I'll be like, how did you know that? She's like, at least now you're asking. And prior to that, you were not even aware of that. So she's so in tune with the body language. She's so in tune with the energetic, I'll let her talk, but she's so in tune with the energy, like influence. So, and I was operating from such an unaware space. Like, forget about these big adversities. I would just walk into a wall. I was so unaware. Like, literally, I was operating from a very disorganized, or whatever that word is. Like, I had a lot going on, but when I was exposed to, there is like, she would identify certain patterns, and I'm like, how did you know that? And she's like, just watch. And I'm like, what do you watch? How do you watch? Like, that brought in that extreme urge to grow. I'm like, how does she know this? I want to go there. So I started studying, and like, I haven't stopped yet. Like, it's now 6 years and more, but I haven't stopped, because I'm like, how does she know that?
Amazing. So you can consider yourself lucky to have met Shwetha to give you that kind of awareness, isn't it?
Yeah, we consider lucky to meet each other for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, amazing.
We find each other in the learnings, and we identify the patterns, we identify what is stopping us, and it's instant shifts.
And it's
which
so nice
is really amazing
to have like a tribe, to have friends and family around you who can really help you with that and assist you in your journey and be part of it, even if they're not wanting to change, but then having them support you through your journey is just crucial.
Yes, amazing. Would you also say, this is a bit of an icky question, because people who ask, so me for myself today, I know I played a big part in that relationship, because I allowed my partner to do all the manipulating. So the question is, did you have that awareness as well, that a big part of it was you as well?
I love that question, because when I was in the relationship, I still believed it was me, but in a different way, because he manipulated me to believe that I was triggering all the things into him. I was triggering anger into him. I was triggering, his outbursts. I was triggering all the like throwing of things and, the temperament and violence. And I started to change myself in a way, suppress myself. I went to God and I prayed to God, and then I would silence myself. I'll be overtly happy. I'll be overtly loving. All of these tactics I tried. And then when I went to, after the separation, when I went through this journey, I realized that it was actually me, but in a different sense. It was me allowing him to go that far. I should have stopped a while ago. So all along it was me, but prior to that, it was me thinking it is creating that. But later it is me because I let that continue. So I don't know if I've communicated that correctly.
I love that awareness. Yes. For me, it was a bit different, because when I was in the relationship, and I think many women do that, I felt I was the victim, total victim, and I only blamed him. Whereas now I know from my upbringing that I didn't have boundaries. Because I had a very strong mother, I became the people pleaser, the good girl.
Yeah.
And I had no boundaries. I always did what was asked from me just to please my parents and to keep the peace. Whereas my sister was the rebel. So in that relationship, I allowed him.
Are you the younger one
whatever.
or the older one?
Sorry?
Are you the younger one or the older one?
I'm the older one. I'm the older one, yes. And my younger sister was the rebel. And what I only realized through all the education that I have been seeking, that in a way I rebelled as well, because I ended up migrating to Australia. I moved away from my family, even though I love them dearly. And I always said about my childhood that I had the most amazing, most beautiful childhood, because my parents looked after me, they gave me everything. But I always discounted the fact that I had a very strong, controlling mom who formed me to that people pleaser, who allowed her husband to treat her just the same way. And that's what I mean, that I now know if I hadn't been that person, either the relationship would have ended a lot sooner, or we didn't even get together in the first place.
That's such a good awareness, and that's such an important work to do, Andrea, and well done on doing that. And they did the best they could from the, the resources they had. And
we know that now. Yes.
That, absolutely. And it's so liberating to know that, right? That they did the best they could. And now we have to just move forward and empower ourselves.
Yes.
And it's so exciting because, we have kids, and some of us have grandkids, and, we can see them grow, and we know that we have to cut off and, be part of the tribal cycle who actually stops it, all of the things that's going forward and probably not serving us the best.
Yeah. Exactly. And the more healing we do on ourselves, the more healing we send out to our children in the process. Yeah. It's not even so much about teaching them what we did wrong, but I think it's an automatic process. As long as we heal ourselves, the healing extends to our children, because they feel the shift in energy in us and take it on, isn't it?
That reminds me of a book I was reading, and it's talking about the Christianity and setting yourself free, and how you can interpret that in a more psychological and a meaningful way as to setting yourself free from all those tribal limitations, setting yourself from all that trauma. And, when we talk about that Jesus sets me free, it's about tapping into your power of being who you want to be and not letting go. And I was like, wow, I've never interpreted Bible in, such psychological deep way. And I just loved it. And I'm just going around telling everybody about it.
I love that. Thank you, Audrey. I love it so much.
I don't say it in no exact way. It's beautiful how I'm like, yeah, so Jesus sets yourself free. And it's really believing in you, believing in your powers, believing in your inner leadership, rather than letting all this past conditioning, letting all this, previous hurt that stops you, setting you free. Yes. And he says, come to me and I'll set you free. I'm not a practicing Christian or a Catholic, but I loved what it said. And I have always known that Bible is very psychologically aligned. But this is my first exposure, probably not the first time I read. One of the glimpses that I've got, and I love it. I will probably dig into it. It's science. I'll dig into it.
No, I love that, because like you said, you mentioned when you told me about your journey that at some point, at the point where you met Shwetha, you felt lost. And it is so true that me too, over the years of the manipulation, I can say that I lost my identity. I didn't know who I was anymore. that powerful, happy, socializing person that I used to be in the beginning of our relationship was not there anymore at all. And I had to recreate myself, redefine myself. And that's where that tapping into your power, this setting yourself free comes into place. And this is exactly what I'd like to take women to. I want them to become aware of that innate power that they have been born with.
Yeah.
And we have been created to shine. God made us to live our lives to the fullest. And then we allowed all the outside experiences and influences dim our light more and more and more. And if we have been manipulated, it was to a point where this light was almost not existent anymore.
Yeah, it's such an important work.
Yeah, and that's what I'd like to achieve with my work, to ignite that flame within women again.
You are amazing, Andrea. And I remember us having a coaching session during one of the workshops we were in, and that was really like empowering. And the way you do it, it's just you come from so much from the heart space. You bring it out. You make it about the client. It is so beautiful to be in your presence. It's so comforting to be in your presence. So I'm sure the clients that work with you will find their true power, just having that support from you, having that mentoring from you, and really fly high, as you said, chains of wings on. So chains off, wings on. So literally getting there, like it's so beautiful, like flying high into their power. So
it's like a phoenix, losing yourself to win yourself. I love it.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I actually had a conversation yesterday with one of our colleagues, Veronica Pearson, and she so identifies with the lioness. And I told her I identify with the phoenix, because the phoenix is being resurrected, and that's what women who have been manipulated are about to do. They are resurrecting. They lost their identity, but I help them to rebuild it and to rise and shine like a phoenix. So thank you so much. What would be one advice you would give women who have awareness that they have been manipulated, they have left their relationship already? What advice would you give them to make sure that they are not falling back into the same pattern anymore?
Great question. I don't know if I would have one advice.
There's many.
That would be a lot. But one thing would be to really recognize the power of subconscious and not get into the trap of subconscious, and start consciously living by embracing uncomfortable to really live the life of your dreams.
Yeah.
When you choose also a powerful circle, like choosing to surround yourself with great energy, great vibration, really choosing the mentors, the coaches, anyone who you know, who you've seen results with, that's going to just elevate your thinking, your mindset, and where your space, that dark space that you're in.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, ladies. I don't know if there is anything else you'd like to share, but I think that was an amazing.
I'd like to share that you are amazing, and thank you for having us on your show. And we would wish you a lot of happiness, success, and a lot of peace and love in your life, and continue to shine bright like you always do, and rise high, 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 high in the sky.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I wish you the best as well. I know you two powerful ladies are going big. You're going places. I can see that. I love the work you're doing together. And thank you so much for sharing your journey. That was really very insightful, and I'm sure very supportive for some ladies who haven't quite achieved what they wanted to achieve in their life.
On the way, and they know they can get there.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful for this interview and for your time. Thank you. Bye.